Hey everyone, Anthony Scott here at ToyHypeUSA.com. Today we are continuing our FanHome review, looking at their Iron Man figure. Special shout out and thank you to FanHome for sending along for review. This is greatly appreciated. To subscribe, make sure to click off the link in the YouTube description or hyperlinks off of ToyHypeUSA.com, which will bring you to the FanHome website with more information about this subscription. Thank you for clicking in advance. This box includes issues 79, 80, 81, and 82, which you see here, and as well as assembly guide number 10. Here's a closer look at issue 79, as well as the parts we're going to be using for the build. First article, new team, the return of Norman Osborn. A continuation, and about halfway through we have a look at the build. This is a breakdown of all the parts right here, 4 bags of screws, and a look where it's going to go. Here is a look at the steps. This is straightforward, so it shouldn't be too complicated. Second part, and an exploded view. Final assembly right there. Exploded view helps a lot. Next article, Iron Man in Love, Matters of the Heart. A continuation. And finally, Model 69, End of an Era. Here's a look at the back, Avengers Volume 4, number 18 from December 2011, as well as a look at the next issue. I'm going to assemble this right now. And let's take a closer look. Here's a look at the completed assembly. On the top here, this ball joint is pushed right into the back. And here's a look at the back of it where I completed all the assembly. This piece has been put on the sides. You have these metallic silver plates. And here's a look at several more angles. All right, I am now moving on to the next issue. Up next is issue 80, and here's a look at the parts we're going to be using for assembly. First article, Battle and Defeats, Avengers Infinity War. A continuation. One more page. And halfway through, we have a look at assembly. Here is a breakdown of the parts. And this is where it's going to go. Put that in as shown, screw it in. And you have an exploded view. And that's where it's going to go on the back. Next article is for Secret Wars from the comic. And a continuation. And on the back, Secret Wars number 1 from July 2015. And a look at the next issue. I'm going to assemble this now. And let's take a closer look. Assembly is complete. Here's a look at how it's going to look. It's going to be placed right into the grooves on the side. So just be aware where you place it when putting it through. And you're going to be screwing it in as shown. And I am now moving on to the next issue. Up next is issue 81, and here's a look at the parts we're going to be using for assembly. First article, Demon, Enemy in the Shadows. A continuation. About halfway through are the steps. Here is a breakdown of the parts, and this is where it's going to go. And here's a look at the steps. Final assembly. An exploded view. Next article, Great Events. The more heroes, the better. A continuation. And we have Model 70, Iron Man Reloaded. On the back, we have Iron Man Volume 1, issue number 510 from January 2012. And a look at the next issue. I'm going to assemble this now, and let's take a closer look. Here's a look at final assembly. These two pieces are put on, screwed right into the back, and I'm moving on to the next issue. The final issue in this box before assembly guide is number 82, and here's a look at the parts we're going to be using for assembly. First article, The Cycle Ends, The Future Begins Here. A continuation. And now about halfway through, we have a look at the parts and the build. Here's a breakdown of the parts. This is where it's going to go. And here is a look at the steps. Next page. Final assembly, which you see there. Here is an exploded view. Next article for the Defenders. A continuation. And finally, we have Symbiotic Armor, Give Me Poison. On the back, we have Iron Man Volume 1, number 521 from September 2012, and a look at the next issue. I'm going to assemble this now, and let's take a closer look. Here's a look at final assembly. Bringing this in closer so you can see. This is how it's going to look when it's done. This part right here will snap like that, so you can move that. This is spring-loaded. And on the other side is the plate. So there's your look there. That's how it's going to look when it's done. And I am now moving on to the next issue. Here's a look at assembly guide number 10, as well as the parts we're going to be using for this assembly. Inside are just the steps for assembly. So here's a closer look at that. Here is a breakdown right here, and the steps. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm going to assemble this right now, and let's take a closer look. Here's a look at final assembly. These wires are connected, which you see there. These are screwed on. The adhesive tape is also placed on, and the wires are connected to here through the adhesive tape. You just put the other end of it, attach it to the tape. Here's a look at the other sides. 2 of these caps are on, as the instructions specify. Overall, the build is coming along great. Highly recommend you guys subscribe and check this out. Thank you again to FanHome for sending along for a review. It's greatly appreciated. To subscribe, check out our hyperlinks off of toyhapusa.com or links right in the YouTube description, and that will send you over to the FanHome page. I am Anthony Scott at toyhapusa.com. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more coverage and reviews.